In English, hi, my name is Isabella Maldia. I can also speak Spanish. Hola, me llamo Isabella. In Chinese, 你好,我叫 Iman. Also in Cantonese, 你好 or hi, Isabella. No sign language. Hi, my name is Isabella. And then at one point had helped some K-pop trainees learn English.
Hello everyone, welcome to JIMK, a podcast show where we talk about various experiences of foreigners and Indians in Korea, their life, their experiences with Korean culture and Korean life. Today we are really thrilled to bring one of the guests who has been to 21 different countries. Her passion for language and curiosity for exploration has taken her to different countries and right now in Korea. So let's dive in. Hi, Isabella.
Hello.
I'm really excited to talk to you.
Yes.
Can you just take us through your journey a little bit and your background?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Oh,
by the
anytime.
way. So, I currently have been to 21 countries.
That's awesome, actually.
Yeah.
And you are 21.
I am 21, so perfectly adds up. Currently, I'm in a triple degree business program. And this is a joint program between 3 universities. So I study my freshman year in LA at the University of Southern California.
Okay, wow.
And then last year, my second year, I studied in Hong Kong at the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. And then next year, I'm actually moving to Milan, Italy at Bocconi. And then the fourth year, we can choose which of the 3 schools we want to go back to.
Wow, I have so many questions because you have studied in so many different universities. I do want your opinion about like the comparison and everything. Awesome. I have this question. So you're talking like 7 languages maybe right now?
Varying degrees.
Okay. Maybe we can do, I'm not pressuring you, but we can do maybe 1 sentence in almost like every language that you know. That would be really, really interesting. What do you want to say?
Maybe I will introduce myself in every language.
That would be great.
So in English, hi, my name is Isabella Maldia. I can also speak Spanish. Hola, me llamo Isabella. In Chinese, 你好,我叫 Iman. Also in Cantonese, 你好 or hi, Isabella. And then
Danish. You said Danish.
Hi, mi name Isabella. In sign language, I also know sign language. Hi, my name is Isabella. And then in Korean, 안녕하세요, 저는 Isabell입니다. But it's still an evolving language. I'm still practicing.
No, but like you have to be confident in there. I talk in what? Like 3 Indian languages. I can do mine. That would be really interesting.
Yeah.
Like, 안녕하세요, 전 निधि입니다. 반갑습니다. Hi, I'm Nidhi. I'm from India. Nice to meet you. नमस्ते, मेरा नाम निधी है. मैं इंडिया से आई हूँ. नमस्कार, माझं नाव निधी आहे. मी भारतातून आली आहे. And I guess the Marwadi one is राधे राधे. My mom called it Jai Shri Krishna. मारो नाम निधि है. मैं भारत से आई हूँ. Oh, I do watch a lot of animation. So
oh, really? Oh, I could say my name in Japanese, but I don't know Japanese. But
go ahead. You go ahead first.
私は Isabella です.
Right? Like they said, start with konnichiwa, watashi wa Didi desu. Konbanwa is like evening one. I was just talking to my friend. I'm like otaku. I was otaku, so that's really interesting.
Yeah.
So, out of all these 7 languages, which is the language which is like most attractive to you?
That's a really hard question because I like speaking in each one for different reasons. I think right now Mandarin Chinese is what I've gravitated towards just because I've spent a lot of time learning with teachers that language. The other ones have kind of been more of I've self-taught myself. And so with that comes some difficulty really getting down the accent. For example, with Danish, it's really difficult for me. If anyone is Danish watching this video, like they definitely will have a little bit of hard time understanding me. But I really like speaking in Mandarin and have a lot of friends from mainland China. Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm actually watching a Chinese drama right now.
Oh, really?
It's called One Day, Some Other Day.
Mm.
It's a recent drama. Right now it's really famous in Korea,
Ooh.
and everybody is like really recommending me. So I started 2 days ago, and it's a little bit sad, but it's an awesome drama. And I like a couple of Chinese actors as well. But then what is like language to you? Like what brings you to a language?
I think that a language to me is something that helps you communicate with someone else. And I think we're really quick to want to say verbally, but there are so many languages that are nonverbal, such as American Sign Language or any sign language in general, which I think is a very underrepresented community. And so that's why I personally wanted to just try to learn it a little bit to be able to connect with more people.
That's awesome. I think like not just the sign language as well when we communicate. Right now we are communicating and you're nodding, and that nodding is giving me like assurance that you are understanding. So those kind of non-verbal gestures really take you to the language. That comes even with Korean one, is more so with Indian one. So I guess the one question that I'm being asked in Korea more so is like, what does it mean when Indians are nodding their heads? Because there are so many different ways of nodding. This is yes, this is no, this is also yes. And then they do like, what is this? There is nothing like this in India. But I guess like those ways are really useful. Since you have learned so many languages, what are the challenges that you have faced?
I think some of the main challenges are just really picking up the accent or kind of progressing once you reach a plateau stage. So this is something I'm currently facing with Mandarin Chinese. So my level is around HSK4, which is similar to TOEIC, kind of another test. And so I think when you get to that level, you've kind of learned all the basic vocabulary. You can converse pretty easily with someone, but to get to the next level is just very difficult to do. And so that's something I've experienced. And I think in general, just learning a language that has a different writing system than you're familiar with is really difficult as well.
So how did you overcome with those kind of challenges? Like when it comes to, even with Korean maybe, there is you learn from books in your own country or in Korea.
Yeah.
Then what is like the next step? How to master a language in your opinion?
When I was at USC in LA, I actually took a linguistics course just because I have such an interest in learning different languages. And so we learned the International Phonetic Alphabet, which is something I really recommend if you're wanting to learn multiple languages, because once you learn it, you can pretty much read any language in the International Phonetic Alphabet. And so if you know it, then when you say the words, even if it's Russian, Arabic, you sound like a native speaker, because there are sites that will translate it to that alphabet.
That's interesting. I never knew that. Maybe I should do that.
Yeah.
So are you using that even when you are learning Korean right now?
Yeah, it's definitely been helpful, because I think that some differences between Korean or Chinese, another Asian language that I've learned, is that the pronunciation is pretty difficult. Yes. Some of the letters are not the same as in English, like the LR sounds pretty tricky. So having that to fall back on has been really helpful. At one point had helped some K-pop trainees learn English. And as someone that doesn't really speak Korean, and to them who don't really speak English, that was definitely a learning challenge for me. But that's something I really noticed was the L versus R. Like I could be saying loyal as in like we're loyal to each other. But they thought I was saying royal as in king and queen. So that was interesting, because teaching people that are non-native English speakers English, you kind of get hints and insight into how their language works.
So recently I thought of an example. I was talking to one of my Korean friend, and I was bored, and I was like, hey, 나랑 놀아줘. Like, play with me, I'm bored. And he was like, you have so many friends. And I was like, I have no chingu. Like I was kidding with him.
Yeah.
I have no chingu. I wrote
Business-
everything in
Yeah,
Korean. That is like a Korean way of Konglish that we call it most of the times. Yeah, I totally get it. So how learning languages is helping you, like visiting so many countries, like 21 countries you have been to.
Yeah.
Like a global citizen. I can call you that. Like how's that?
It's been really, really helpful because you get to connect with people on a different level than when you only speak English. And you have a lot of opportunities, or local people just invite you to do more things when you speak even a couple phrases.
So then this is the question a lot of like older generation tell to their younger kids when they want to learn a language, like why learn a language at a particular age in your life. And do you think like learning a language when you're maybe 25, 26 or 30, whatever the age is waste of time?
No, definitely not. I think that you should always learn a language no matter how old you are. Even if you're old, maybe like over 80, like it's never too late to learn another language, because you have access to so many things after you learn a language. Like you can watch anime dubbed, but if you know Japanese, it just is a lot of different experience.
It's a different experience. That's totally true. Okay, so when you first came to Korea, how has that been like similar or different to other countries?
Korea has definitely been different than where I've lived. So I've lived in the US and then also Hong Kong over the last year. I've visited many places. I've visited Korea before, but living is definitely a lot different. And so I think being in Korea has helped me become even more independent, because Hong Kong was a city, but it's very small. And so it doesn't feel like you're lost in a big city. But Seoul is so big, and navigating the metro lines and the bus system, it's been challenging, but also very rewarding seeing how I've changed over the last 2 months.
What is like one of the experience that you still remember that you would like to share maybe?
So one time I was taking the metro, and in Hong Kong, the island is so small, the entire map can fit on the train. So you can see like all of them connecting on one train very easily, because there's not many. And so I remember I was going home one night. I'm not exactly sure the area. I think it was near Itaewon. And I accidentally took it the wrong direction. But I went an hour the wrong direction before I realized. And I was significantly north of Seoul National University, and I need to go to Hongdae. And so I just remember sitting there, and it was like 11 p.m. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. But very memorable experience.
I remember that in terms of like when I first came, because I did not know any Korean. So I had to go to Seoul Daegu. And there was Kyode, which is also in English, it's called Seoul National University of Education Station. So we went there. I missed my exam actually. Literally, we dropped there and we were like, we have to go there. How to go there? And they were like, you're on totally different station. It's like,
no.
It's Seoul National University. What do you mean? And like it's just called like that. I know. I totally get that. And the most. I don't like line 1 at all. Line 1 is really confusing in Korea, so I don't like that. But I do understand knowing the language is easier, because then I can ask people, hey, how to go there, rather than just like, oh my God, I have to figure it out all by myself.
Yeah, that's why I ended up like learning the alphabet super quickly, because I needed to type it in Naver. Because when I came over winter break, I didn't know the Korean alphabet. And so that was just a whole issue of me having to Google Translate the location and then trying to find the letters to put in Naver. But this time, actually knowing the alphabet and being able to type was really useful.
That's awesome. So you said like you have studied in LA, and then last year in Hong Kong, and right now here, and next year you're going to go there. But at least in those 3 different settings on universities, how do you think like the education was different?
I think that last year in Hong Kong, there's very large emphasis on studying, especially from the students. So my school had probably only about 20% of international students. The rest were local students.
Okay.
And our school is in a bit of a remote area, so it's kind of difficult to leave and go into the main city. And so because of that, a lot of students just end up studying there all the time. And we have a 5-story library, so you can see what the emphasis is on at the university. And so I really had to reform my studying habits because in the US, I found the education to be quite easy just because I went to a college preparatory school in high school. So I could go maybe 3 days before the test to start studying and I would do perfectly fine. But in Hong Kong, I would study 10 days in advance and get barely above mean. So it's definitely...
That's Asia for you, baby.
Definitely a different emphasis, for sure.
So, and if you compare that to Korean studies, it's not been long, I know, but still like whatever experience you have till now.
The working culture is really different here. I've worked or done internships in the US, and then I actually did a consulting project for a company in Colombia. And so seeing how those working cultures are US, South America, now Korea, very different. Here, I noticed a lot of people, you know, they won't leave before their boss leaves. You can work very late at night. There's not necessarily a very consistent cutoff for when I'm going home. And so that was very new for me.
So when it comes to, like, there are so many viewers who are learning Korean language and they are interested in Korean culture. So if there is any advice you want to give them, what would that be?
I think it depends kind of what your native language is. But in general, I would say to kind of learn as if you were a small child. Because I've read textbooks that are made for young adults or older people. And I feel there's just too much, I don't want to say unnecessary information, but a lot of information on grammatical things that you don't need to know at the beginning of your journey, and I think end up discouraging a lot of people from learning languages. So I end up buying books made for 3-year-olds or just young children, and I found that to be the best method.
That is awesome. I guess like the best tip that you have given right now, it's like not that many people go in that way. Like many people say that make friends in Korea or boyfriends in Korea or like watch TV or those kind of things, but going for the basics, again, it's really, really important. Another question that I have, which will be the last one, whoever is coming to Korea for travel or even for staying in here, do you have like prepare XYZ? Like
That's a good question, but I can't think of too many things. This is something I read online. I've not personally experienced this yet because I haven't been here long enough. But a lot of people say that if you're from the US or another country, you should bring deodorant with you because it's really hard to get in Korea since a lot of Koreans, they're missing the one gene that produces odor when you sweat. So places that do sell deodorant can mark it up a lot. And so that could be something difficult to find. I had that problem in Hong Kong, actually. It was really hard for me to find deodorant. So I actually had my friends like ship me deodorant from the US.
That's interesting. That's really interesting. I never thought of that. Well, guys, then prepare deodorant and start learning from maybe the basic. That would be the 2 things that Isabella would like to give it to you. So I guess like today, at least for this segment, we would be ending up here. Do you have, like, what was your experience to be here? Did I ask you too many questions?
No. I think it's really good. I think the final thing I want to say is that one of my favorite quotes is actually by Nelson Mandela. And this is kind of a summary of the quote, but it's really helped me with my language learning journey, which is that when you speak English to someone, you're talking to their brain. But when you speak their native language, you're speaking to their heart. And so that's what's really helped me going with learning languages.
I didn't want to add anything to that. If you have any questions to Isabella, just write us down. And before you go, like, try to learn language from your heart rather than try to connect with people rather than just like to get away with the language or just talk a little bit. Okay, before you go, like, subscribe, and share. I'm not going to take more of your time. And leave us the comments. Bye.
Bye.